This is William Michael of the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, and it's Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. This evening, I sent out a message through the Academy Study Center that should have been received by any parent or student who is registered in the study center. All of our active students and many of the parents are also registered. So you should have received that email. It's titled Important Winter Term Begins January 9th, and it's sort of a back-to-school message to help parents and students learn about what I've been able to work on over Christmas break and help us all get started on the same page as we get back to school here in the new year. I'd like to take some time in this video to simply walk through the content of that email message that was sent out and expand upon it a little bit. So hopefully this will be helpful for families getting back to work heading into the winter term. The email read, "Christmas recess will soon be ending and the winter term will begin on Monday, January 9th in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. We'll be back to our normal schedule of activities, and I'd like to share some news before we're off and running. Over the winter break, I've worked to make a number of improvements based on my experience with students last term." And here's a quick summary. So last term, the fall term of 2022 was the first term that I have ever worked with students in one-on-one video meetings. I've done a little bit in the past, but last term was really the first time that I committed to it as a long-term plan for the Academy, offering weekly video meetings and help with planning and things like that for students subscribed to the premium student plan. And those meetings went well, and when I say they went well, what I mean is that the students who I meet with weekly for those meetings accomplished an incredible amount of work in the fall term, far more than I've ever seen students accomplish in the Academy before. But as I went through that experience and I took a break at a couple points to work on some things, as I was going through those private meetings for the first time in the fall term, there were a number of issues that I realized as a teacher and as a administrator of the program that I wanted to improve upon moving forward. So when Christmas break finally rolled around, I had a chance to get to work on some of those things, and I'd like to talk about them. The first and most important thing, and I think this is going to cause many parents and students to celebrate, is that I've decided that in January this year, we're going to begin making all quiz results available to students. Ever since the Academy started, we've held quiz results under lock and key because we've wanted to discourage cheating and things like that. We've wanted to force students to study for mastery. We've wanted to maintain a certain level of rigor in the studies and make the students work. But we did that because there were no other means of assessment available when we got started. Quizzes were all that there were on the Academy website, and so we really had a lot depending on those quizzes and the integrity of those assessments in terms of the quality of student work. Today, the majority of our courses make use of written assignments, and so I'm much less dependent on the online quizzes for getting an idea of whether students are mastering the content. So quizzes serve a different role in the Academy today than they did when we first started back in 2009. The strict, keeping of the quiz results today is really not necessary anymore because, like I said, our assessment doesn't depend on those online quizzes. So students taking these quizzes will often submit their answers and they're not sure what they got wrong on a certain quiz. They have to contact us. We have to look into the quiz to see the students' responses and see what they've gotten wrong. Many times the students' answers are acceptable, but they were marked wrong by the computerized answer keys, and that just gets annoying and frustrating for a lot of the students, and understandably so. And so in our tutoring meetings and things like that, in our support work with live chats, we're spending a lot of time helping students to figure out what they got wrong on quizzes and making sure that they're not hung up on something that's actually wrong on our side, on the quiz side. So it's just a real pain in the neck a lot of the time for all of us, not just for the students, but for us here at the office as well. So beginning in January, we will be giving students access to all quiz results so they can see what questions they miss on assessments and move more easily through their lessons. And as I said, this will save all of us a great amount of time and will allow us to focus on more important tasks, one of which is grading student written assignments, which is a far more telling source of assessment than online quizzes, with which kids can cheat through and stuff like that. You can't cheat much through written assignments. So it's a better form of assessment, and I'd like to have more time to devote to reviewing student work and giving helpful feedback when I can. So access to quiz results, that's a big change this January. Now, it's not ready to go just yet. We're going to be opening up the results quiz by quiz. We're going to be working on that in the office over the next few weeks, getting all of the quizzes opened up. So if there's a specific quiz you need, let us know and we'll make that a priority. But otherwise, we'll get through them. Probably in a few weeks, we'll have all of the quizzes opened up so the kids don't need to fuss about quiz results anymore. That's announcement number one. Second, improved video tutorials. You may have seen that I published a couple of black screen video tutorials. I'm just saying black screen because the background is black, and that's an easy way for you to notice them on the Academy YouTube channel if you want to take a look. But parents have asked me for years to make more tutorial videos. If you've seen the Petty School program, when I started the Classical Liberal Arts Academy back in 2009, I used video tutorials for the Petty School courses, for Latin grammar, and a few other courses, and they were very successful. Parents and students enjoyed them, and they've been asking me for more video tutorials for years. And the simple reality is they're very time-consuming, and the reason why I stress about video tutorials is that teaching is serious business. I'm teaching philosophy and classical liberal arts, even Catholic theology in some courses, and I can't get stuff wrong. I have to be very careful in what I teach. I don't like just flipping on a camera and talking. I think that's pretty careless. None of us are competent enough to just shoot from the hip. I think it's sort of irreverent and careless. I don't like to teach like that, and so that's why I haven't published lots of tutorial content just by making videos. I want to be able to prepare the content, to prepare the text, have it in front of me as I record the commentary, and then produce something that I'm confident is accurate and thorough for the students so they actually get the help they need and don't just have more superficial video content available. There's plenty of that already. I don't want to provide that. I want to provide accurate, thorough tutorial content that really helps the students understand and learn these important lessons. So over break, I worked to organize sort of a process by which I can prepare the texts of these lessons, create slideshows, narrate the entire slideshow, edit it so I can add some slides and correct some things that I'm not happy with, and then finally publish it as a YouTube video, which is easy for everyone to use. And if you look on the Academy YouTube channel, you'll see a few of them that I posted last week. Again, you'll notice them because they have a black background in the video. But I'm going to be able to produce those tutorials much more efficiently, and not just efficiently, but accurately and with thoroughness that actually satisfies me and I think makes them useful for the kids. So improved video tutorials. And just to read this note, many parents and students have pressed me for video tutorials, and I know that they can be very helpful. The challenge for me is that I need to make sure such tutorials are accurate and thorough. I cannot just flip the camera on and start talking. Over the break, I've developed a format for tutorial videos that I will be able to produce more efficiently, and you will begin seeing these throughout the curriculum week by week. If there is a course or lesson that you're working on and you would like me to make it a priority, just let me know, and I'll do that. So improved video tutorials should be coming throughout the year, heading into 2023. The third issue, which is related to that, and really which is allowing for the video tutorials, is that I've developed a process by investing some time and money into a system that allows me to get the study materials that we use in the Academy into print so we can make them more easily accessible and better quality than the PDFs that we use on the website. So this is the third note that I made in this back-to-school message. I wrote, another request I regularly receive from parents is for printed study materials. While we study directly from classic texts, many of these texts are not in print today, which is why we host them in digital form on the website. Behind the scenes, we're working to prepare these texts to return to print. Over break, I've organized a speech-to-text publishing system that allows me to accurately republish the ancient texts as quickly as they can be read. And when I say accurate, I mean accurate down to the punctuation in the original texts and the details, not just some sloppy reading of the text like an audiobook. I mean reading it where I can include every single note and mark and punctuation mark as we go, and we can have very accurate and newly printed versions of these classic study materials. So that's something I've worked to get ready over break and is working very well. This should make much of the Academy's study materials available in printed form in the near future. And if you'd like to see a sample, if you go on the Academy bookstore, you can find a PDF version of Aristotle's On Interpretation. That's one of the works that I was able to have or put back into print over Christmas break. So that works really great. And when I'm able to put the classic texts into new printing, that also gives me the text that I can use in the video tutorials, which is why both of those things work together. It's working very well. So that's great. And we should have more and more printed study materials for any parents who would like printed copies of the books we use for the kids to study from. So that's number 3. Number 4. This year, it's, I think, fairly well known that I'm going to be experimenting with live classes. So, as I said, in the fall of 2022, I got started with live video meetings where I met with individual students, and it was the first time that I'd really done that to the extent that I did this fall, committing to it. And I think it turned out pretty well. I'm very comfortable with it. I've learned to use the software and the equipment pretty smoothly now, so I feel more confident having gotten started with one-on-one meetings. And now the next step is for us to move to move little by little from one-on-one meetings to group meetings, which allow us to do even more. So we'll be experimenting with live classes, live online classes, beginning in January. Now, the problem with live classes is that, everyone all the schools, public schools, they've all been messing around with Zoom classes, and colleges now have Zoom classes. My own kids are in college and they're enrolled in some online courses, and I get to see what the professors are doing. And it has nothing to do with what we're doing in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. If all I was doing was teaching a modern semester course, yeah, that's easy. You just put in the time, and at the end of the semester, you're done. In our situation, it's much more challenging because, first of all, we're pursuing the real goals of classical Catholic education, lifelong learning goals. We're really seeking wisdom. We're not just trying to, check 14 weeks off the calendar and give grades for college credits, or, get through a high school year and give kids diploma credits. It's much more challenging. That's one challenge, the fact that our goals are different than modern schools. Secondly, we have a complete curriculum, which modern schools and colleges don't have. In modern schools and colleges, for all the talk of curriculum standards and stuff like that, they don't have a curriculum in their schools. The teachers make the lesson plans. The teachers determine what is studied, how it's studied, what textbooks are used, and so on. Just think when you were in college, if you went to college, who decided what textbook you used for a course? The professor did. It wasn't the dean or the university president. There wasn't an established curriculum. Whoever your professor was, he decided what books to buy. So you see, there's no curriculum at a university. There's no curriculum in a high school. When I was a private school teacher, I had to make up my lesson plans, and I simply had to put them in a folder in the office, and the headmaster supposedly looked at them and reviewed them. But I don't even know if that was normally true. But the teachers and the professors just make up the course content each year in colleges and schools. And in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, we don't do things like that. We have a curriculum. We have a real historical, philosophically coherent curriculum that we work through. So live classes aren't so simple. The third challenge that we face is that we primarily serve homeschooling families and their families all over the world, so every different time zone on the planet is represented in the academy. And flexibility of scheduling is one of the greatest benefits of homeschooling, and I would never want to ruin that for the sake of live classes. So having live classes at a fixed time and just having it serve a fraction of the students in the program doesn't help very much. Plus, we have students starting at all different times, at all different levels, working at their own pace, and so on. So when you put all these things together, the idea of live classes is a really complicated project to think about and organize. But because of my experience working with students at all different levels like I have for a long time now, and thinking about what's really necessary and helpful about a live class meeting, the students don't need me to present the material to them because they already have access to the material. Students don't need for me to read the lessons to them because they can do that themselves. Students don't need me to give them tests in class or grade their papers or anything like that in class. So what's really necessary for live class meetings is an explanation of important concepts and principles in the course that help all students, no matter where they are in the course, discussions that allow the kids to process the information and get some exercise articulating these ideas and talking about them, and also getting into skills and activities that we can't get into when students are working alone, like disputations and discussions and things like that. So we'll be able to learn some new classical study activities and exercises that the kids have never had access to before, and we'll be able to work on those because we're doing it together in class. Now, one of the advantages we have is because, I'm something of a, master in all of the subjects that have been developed in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. I'm able to work with kids at all different levels because I'm not stuck with a teacher's manual. I don't have to follow a script. I don't have to make sure I have control of the class at all times and make sure kids don't ask questions I'm not ready for and things like that. I'm very comfortable with all of the content of the curriculum. I'm comfortable working with kids at all different age levels and ability levels. I do it every day. And so I think that our live classes are going to be helpful, not just academically, but also socially and culturally for the kids. And I think that they'll allow us to get into some new opportunities in the academy that we've never been able to mess around with before because the kids have been working by themselves. So we'll be experimenting with live classes, and when I say experimenting, I'm primarily referring to getting used to the Zoom software and trying to figure out what the best arrangements are for these class meetings, seeing if there's anything that I need to invest in on our side to make them better for the students. So experimenting means just getting started, running into problems as we go, so that over the summer I can really button all these things up and get things running smoothly. So next fall we can go into live classes full speed ahead. Let me also say one other thing about live classes is if you're not in a U.S. time zone, I'm on the East Coast in the United States. I'm perfectly happy having evening courses or even weekend courses if we can help more kids get involved. So if you're interested in having students in live classes and you're outside of the Eastern U.S. time zones, just get in touch with me and let me know what you're interested in, because I'm happy to arrange live classes during unusual hours for American studies because I'm very free in terms of what I can schedule and things like that, working independently as I do. So just communicate with me. Let me know what courses parents are interested in for the kids, what subjects you'd like me to work with the kids in, and what times work well for everybody. And we'll just slowly sort of organize these live classes and try to make them available for as many people as possible. And also, I'm not promising this because I don't know if it'll interrupt things or cause any distraction, but I am probably going to record our meetings. I don't know if I'm going to make them available to people who don't attend the meetings, just because I think if we get together for a live class and we get to know each other and kids get comfortable discussing things in class, kids are free to make mistakes and ask questions and things like that. And I don't know that they'd want all of those mistakes or questions or awkward moments, published for outsiders to watch. So I'm going to record the meetings, but I don't know that they're going to be made public. I think they're only going to be made available to participants in the live classes. So I think that's going to be the policy with recorded lessons. I've been asked about that by a few parents who say, well, we can't attend that meeting, so can we just watch the video? I don't know if I'm going to do that, because I don't want kids in the meetings thinking, oh, I better not say anything because what if it gets on YouTube and then I don't want the kids to think like that. I want the kids to relax and enjoy our discussions and feel like the people that are in the meeting are the only people that are going to know about these discussions. Parents will have access to everything, of course. Students in the meetings would have access to those recordings, but I don't think I'm going to make them accessible to non-participants. Okay, so that's for experimenting with live classes. Number 5, weekly video meetings for students who are enrolled in the premium student plan who have weekly meetings scheduled with me. I intend to resume weekly video meetings on Monday, January 9th, which is next Monday, following my normal schedule. And I put a link to the schedule. I'd like you just to check the schedule, make sure your day and time is still what it should be, and just make sure the scheduling is all squared away before we get into this first week of the new term. Please note that I have made evening and Saturday slots open for any students interested in getting started with the premium student plan this winter term. It may not be the best timing for everyone to have an evening meeting or even a Saturday meeting, but what will happen is students who meet with me in the evenings or on Saturdays because the weekday hours are filled up, when those weekday hours open up, I'll make that known, and students can slide from an evening slot into a daytime slot and things like that. So if you'd like to get started, you can use one of those evening slots or a Saturday slot, and then if in God's providence someone pulls out of a daytime slot, you may have an opportunity to get into that spot. So check out that meeting schedule. There's a link to it on the announcement on the study center, and let me know if things look all right. Also, if any students will not be attending weekly video meetings, please let me know so I can open those slots for other students. If you're enrolled in the premium student plan and you'd like me to, update your planner every week, get all your assignments graded for you, help you with any questions you have, things like that, that's fine. You don't have to come to a weekly video meeting. That's just optional. I don't even know that for some students that it's necessary or even helpful. Some students really like it, but some students, it may just be a waste of time. So if you'd like me to work on your planner and your grading and things like that, but you don't want to have the weekly video meeting, just let me know, because I'd like to know that so I can make that slot available to somebody who would like a video meeting. So just let me know. Lastly, number 6. The Academy Help Center is a resource that I don't talk about very much because it's been in need of a lot of work. It's a very powerful system that's equivalent to me hiring 100 support staff members. And I've just had a lot of work to do to really get that ready so that it can fulfill its potential. And I've done that over the Christmas break. I put quite a bit of time into the Help Center, and I'd like to encourage you to check out the Help Center and learn to use it, because it can really help you to get help when you need it, when live help's not available, rather than going back and forth by email or even worse, playing phone tag or something like that. The Help Center is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anytime you need it. And I'm going to be concentrating on filling that Help Center with more and more support materials so that parents and students can just go there anytime and search for help articles and information, create tickets if you have questions that you need to submit for responses from us here at the office. But I'd really like for parents and students to get to learn to use the Help Center, because it's a powerful tool that's only going to become more powerful as I invest more time and resources into it. So you can access that Help Center by going to help.classicalliberalarts.com. Also on the website, the little chat box at the bottom of the screen, that little chat box is actually connected to the Help Center and has access to all of the help articles that I post on there, and allows you to create a ticket for support. If we're available, you can chat with us using that. It's all integrated as one really awesome support system that I would like for parents and students to get comfortable with, because it can really help us to collaborate and get you the help you need when you need it. And do so without having to wait for us or catch us at a time when we're available to chat or something like that. It's just 24/7 access, which I think can really help everybody. So check out the Help Center at help.classicalliberalarts.com, or just use that chat widget at the bottom of the website. So those 6 items I wanted to discuss before we get going here in the winter term. Those are the things that have been on my mind as I went into the Christmas break, and that's what I've been working on through Christmas break. Over the rest of this week, I plan on wrapping up any lingering assignment grading that needs to get done, taking a look at student planners and getting them updated before the winter term starts, and then getting new lesson content together for the kids to move forward after the break. If there's anything that you need from me, anything you'd like to talk about, or get organized before the winter term begins and things get crazy, get in touch with me this week, because while I'm busy, I have much more time available than I will next week. So if there's any issues that you'd like to talk about before the winter term comes, get in touch with me. Create a ticket on the Help Center. Just whatever needs to get done. Let's get those contacts in as soon as possible so I can help you get ready for the winter term. That's all that I wanted to share. Very excited about the winter term, excited about live classes and things like that getting started. Encouraged by the work that I saw the kids get done in the fall term, and I think we've made some significant improvements that are going to help them even more moving forward. So let's pray for each other as we get started. There's so much work to do. I'm sure you're aware of how wacky these times are that we're raising these kids in. We face an uphill battle every day. What the kids are asked to overcome is humanly impossible, and it's only going to be by our constant labor to make sure that we do everything that we can while we have them in our control during their childhood, to make them aware of the truth and at least teach them where to find it when they do seek it in their adult lives. But it's going to depend on God's grace, so we have to do everything that we can, and we have to pray for one another and encourage these kids and love these kids, because they face very great challenges, I think more challenging than any of us faced when we were their ages, and we have to put in the time and effort in their education and in our care for them to help them and put them in the best position possible. So let's pray for each other and work together. Stay positive. Focus on the good that you do. Don't allow yourself to be discouraged by whatever you fail to do, because there's so much to do. We're always going to fail to do much more than we accomplish, and we have to learn to focus on what's in our control and stay positive. And at the end of the day, rather than having a self-examination time and thinking of all the things you failed to do, take some time to also think of the things that you did do, and encourage yourself, because you're going to have to pick yourself up by the bootstraps, as it were, in this generation, and keep yourself positive and encouraged. And we need to pray for each other and encourage each other. I hope that's a helpful set of announcements. As I said, if there's anything you'd like to talk about, just get in touch. This week is great because things are still kind of quiet for me. So let's get ready and have a great winter term together. God bless you all.